Lawyers. When did a dead person leave a final move? So smart that even the judge laughed. I've been a probate lawyer for 23 years. I've seen ugly wills, petty wills, wills that tore families apart over silverware. But I've never seen anything like what Harold Whitfield did to his children. Harold was a client of mine for 15 years. Self-made guy. Started a plumbing business in his 20s and turned it into a company worth about $12 million by the time he retired. His wife died when their kids were teenagers. He never remarried. Raised those 3 kids alone, and they were awful to him. His oldest son, Brian, moved across the country and never visited. Called maybe twice a year, usually when he needed money. His daughter, Claudia, put him in a nursing home the minute he turned 75, even though he was perfectly healthy. She wanted his house. Moved right in while he was still alive. His youngest son, Derek, was the worst. He'd visit Harold at the nursing home, but only to pressure him about the will. Every single visit. Dad, you need to make sure the estate is split fairly. Dad, Claudia already took the house, so she shouldn't get anything else. Harold would sit there and listen and nod. Never argued. Never defended himself. When he was 82, Harold came to my office to update his will. He was frail, but his mind was sharp. He sat down and smiled. I want to have some fun, he said. What kind of fun? The kind my children won't enjoy. He laid out his plan, and I actually had to ask him to repeat it. I told him it was unconventional. He said that was the point. Harold died 8 months later, peaceful, in his sleep. His children didn't find out until 2 days after because none of them had visited that week. The funeral was quick. I watched all 3 of them pretend to cry. Then came the will reading. They sat in my conference room looking impatient. Brian kept checking his phone. Claudia was already talking about selling the company. Derek had a notepad ready to calculate his share. I started reading. I, Harold Eugene Whitfield, being of sound mind, leave my estate as follows. They all leaned forward. To my oldest son, Brian, who called me twice a year and visited once every 3 years, I leave exactly what he gave me in my final decade. Nothing. Brian's face went red. That's not legal. I continued reading. To my daughter, Claudia, who put me in a nursing home so she could take my house and never once asked if I was happy there, I leave the house she already stole. But she must pay the remaining mortgage of $400,000 within 90 days or forfeit it entirely. Claudia stood up. There's a mortgage? He paid that off years ago. Harold took out a second mortgage 6 months before he died. Bought himself a very nice end-of-life experience. Private nurses, good food, all the things his children never provided. I kept reading. To my youngest son, Derek, who visited me regularly but only to discuss my money, I leave $1 for every minute he spent asking about my will instead of asking about my life. By my count, that's approximately $347. Derek's face twisted. This is insane. I smiled and turned the page. The remainder of my estate, valued at approximately $11.6 million, I leave to the nurses and staff at Greenbrook Care Facility, who treated me with more kindness in 5 years than my own children did in 50. The room exploded, all 3 of them shouting. They demanded to see the original document. They accused me of manipulating their father. They threatened to sue everyone. I let them yell until they ran out of breath. Then I read Harold's final paragraph. To my children, if you're angry right now, ask yourselves why. I gave you everything when you were young. I paid for your schools. I funded your homes. I asked for nothing in return except your time. You couldn't even give me that. You treated me like I was already dead years before I actually died. So I decided to treat you the same way in my will. You were already dead to me. They took it to court, contested everything, said Harold wasn't of sound mind, said he was manipulated by the staff. The judge reviewed the evidence. Medical records showing Harold was mentally sharp until the end. Security footage from the nursing home showing his children's visits were exactly as Harold described. Timestamps proving Derek spent 90% of every visit talking about money. When the judge finished reviewing everything, she denied the contest. Then she did something I've never seen. She laughed, not mean, more like impressed. She looked at the 3 children and said, your father clearly knew exactly what he was doing. This will stand. Claudia lost the house because she couldn't pay the mortgage. Brian went back across the country with nothing. Derek tried to appeal twice and lost both times. The nursing home staff split $11.6 million. Some retired, some paid off student loans. One started a scholarship fund in Harold's name. I still have a photo of Harold on my desk. Every time someone asks about the most memorable case of my career, I tell them about the old man who finally got the last word. His children spent years treating him like he didn't matter. They visited out of obligation and greed. They counted his money before he was even cold, and Harold knew. He knew the whole time. He just waited until he had nothing left to lose before he showed them exactly what he thought of them. That's the thing about the dead. They don't have to be polite anymore.